Hello, I'm Katharine York. I work in offshore renewable energy. I volunteer as a gliding instructor and I teach yoga. And none of those are things that I thought I was going to be doing when I was at school. In fact, up until I got my A-level results, I was set on becoming a vet. Only my results didn't turn out the way that I wanted. And I had the option of staying on at college and resitting to get the grades that I needed, or going off and doing something else, which is the route I took. I ended up studying a different subject, and at the end of it didn't entirely know where I was going. Now, the real disappointment for me of not becoming a vet was the fact that I was excited about it. It was something that had meaning. And it also felt as though it was going to make life simple, because I would do a job to be a thing and I wouldn't need to make any more decisions. I'd know who I was, I'd have that sense of identity. And the degree I did in zoology didn't give me that. It opened up many doors, but it didn't give me the map to say which one I ought to go through. So I really had to reflect on what I was interested in and what I was capable of. And I found that the skills I had of a questioning mind and an ability to understand and follow procedures, they were things that really stood me in good stead and came from that science background that I'd studied. So where I went from the degree was to work, first of all, in manufacturing. I was working in printing and overseeing the process of things going from files coming in and absolutely blank sheets of paper to watching them go through the printing, the folding and the binding stages to be magically transformed into a finished book or magazine or journal. Maybe I was interested in the content, maybe not, but there was still something incredible about seeing it go through all of those different stages from nothing to something. I moved from there into roles that were supporting businesses in the environmental sector, and then into actually generating power, so hydropower, and looking after the processes, the reservoirs and the people involved in that. And from there I moved into the offshore wind industry. And I moved to the Grimsby area about 9 years ago to work on operating offshore wind turbines and the wind farms in this area. And then in 2020, I moved to my current role in the Offshore Renewable Energy Catapult. Now, we are all about increasing what goes on in the offshore wind industry and increasing the amount of UK-based businesses that are involved in and benefiting from that involvement. And so our goals are around increasing the production of the turbines, improving their reliability and performance, and enhancing the safety for the people who are out there working on turbines. And what I really love about where I work is the colleagues that I work with and the sorts of things that we work on. So they're so enthusiastic and respectful of each other's expertise and really keen to learn that it makes it a really friendly and happy place to work. And we're constantly working on new things and getting excited and engaged with these different ideas. The sorts of people that I work with come from quite a range of backgrounds. Some of them specialise now in project management. So that's making sure that everything we're delivering is staying to time, keeping to what we're actually supposed to be doing, that we're spending the right amount of money and no more. Lots of people with an engineering background, so that could be mechanical engineering, electrical, civil engineering, understanding how the companies that we're dealing with, the suggestions and technologies they've got, how that will actually affect the wind turbines they're being placed on, and how that will last in the long term, and really how sensible and realistic those proposals are. Are they going to deliver what they're promising to deliver? But also people with a background in naval architecture, which is something I hadn't even heard of or considered before I moved into this business and met people doing it. And then realised that naval architects don't just design boats, they deal with anything that's operating in that marine environment, the harsh, constantly changing environment. So that could be foundations of a wind turbine, that could be floating offshore turbines with all the anchors and mooring lines they need, Or that could be moving into the idea of tidal energy, wave energy, anything that's exposed to that marine environment. And there are also people who are specialists in contracts, so making sure that when we buy things, we get what's promised for the right price, and that we deliver what we're supposed to be doing, that we aren't exposing ourselves to difficulties within the law, either in delivery on contracts or intellectual property. So making sure there's proper safeguarding of the inventions that we deal with or that we might come up with. And people who are hot on finance and keeping us to budget, making sure there's the money available to spend and that people get paid at the end of the month, which, we're all quite keen on that as an outcome. And along the way in this career that's moved from one industry to another, gaining lots and lots of experience, somewhere along the way I learnt to fly, which is definitely something I didn't realise I could do when I was at school, not without either being extremely wealthy or becoming an airline pilot or going into the military. And in fact, it costs so much to become an airline pilot that somehow you have to have become wealthy sometimes to even get there. The benefits for me of gliding are it's given me a fantastic hobby that's really time absorbing and has hugely built my confidence and experience. And in fact, I credit it with getting me my first proper job because it gave me so many examples that I could use in interview about how I make decisions, how I can trust my judgment, how I interact with a team of other people. Some I know, some I don't know, some I get on with, some I don't get on with, but how we can all work towards a common goal. I say it gave me so much experience and material that it actually won me my first proper job, even though that had nothing directly to do with aviation. So I would definitely encourage you, if not taking up gliding, then really to think about what hobbies you can have and how the skills that you practice and refine in those activities can have an application beyond that, so in the working environment. Because having that breadth of material to draw from is what will make you stand out when you're applying for something compared with anybody else who, as I was at the age of 16, 17, 18 or older, I had hobbies that involved reading, and it was very interesting. Didn't really help me answer those questions when I didn't have work experience to build on. So I would absolutely recommend you find something you are enthusiastic and passionate about and follow it, whether that's in your career or in your general life, because over time you'll find that the two can come together and they will link in a way that you can't imagine at the moment. So good luck with everything that you're studying, everything you're researching, and don't feel that your career has to be a single decision made at the age of 16 or 18. There are so many jobs that exist now that didn't exist when I was at school, and the world is constantly changing. There are always new things you can get involved with, and the main thing is to be confident, to be flexible in how you think, and creative in how you apply the experience that you've got.